I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hey, guys.
We are back for episodes 3 and 4 of Midnight Gospel.
Baby.
Me and Kitty Kaboom here. We are so excited to get into these. How are you doing, Kitty? It's been like a week.
Great. I know it has been a minute. And I'm so used to seeing you in all the panels, so I missed you. But once again, just not disappointed. Like I literally be on the edge of my seat watching the show. I love it. I have no idea what's coming next. I think the greatest challenge is not getting focused on one thing or another. You know what I mean? It's so easy to watch it and be like, wait, what are they talking about? And take notes and I'm literally on my phone looking stuff up. So I have to do that, but I have to pay attention to what's going on because there might be something vital, you know what I mean? In the drawings that I need
My notes are all over the place. Because
exactly.
I'm like, oh wait, that's happening. Wait, what are they talking about? Wait, but then there's those cats. There's
it's always
I
something.
Figure it out.
And I'm just like, that just came out of his butt? Or how did that don't you love it when he the guy
literally came out of his butt?
Literally. And it unzips and I'm like, what is happening? Yeah, so you have to pay attention to both. It's kind of challenging.
You know, what I like is you have a tendency to listen to the conversation, which I can sometimes go in and out of. Whereas I'll be noticing these weird things in the animation, and then we come together, and I kind of like that we have this going on because it's actually
I do too.
We'll talk about it in a little bit, but that's actually a huge thing with this show that I've learned about. But so episode 3, Hunter Without a Home. How did you feel about it?
Again, I absolutely loved it. I think I'm able to focus so much on the words because I'm literally intrigued. This is, I told you, this is my bag. This is where I live right now. And I aspire to be the best version of myself. And I look forward to be I've said before, I don't know about nirvana. That's kind of, that's lofty, but I am focused on just listening more and obviously I'm not that great at it, but progress, not perfection. I'm working on it. So yeah, I enjoyed chapter 3. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. To answer your question, and I looked up the guy. I had to look up the guy because he kept making reference to being in jail.
Oh,
remember?
Yeah, that was referenced a few times.
Yeah, so I was like, what was he locked up for? What is the issue? And so that was very interesting. I'll share that if you're interested in knowing why he was in jail.
Yes, please.
Yeah, his time there. So, okay, Clancy, as we know, is our guy, right? That goes and does these podcast interviews with everyone. And he's guest on the show for the 3rd episode was Darryl, whose real name is Damien Echols. So Damien, unfortunately, was 18, I believe, and he had 2 other friends that were 18 as well that were charged with murdering 3 children.
Oh my God.
Exactly. Where's he from? West Memphis, Arkansas. Okay, so he was studying maybe a spirituality, but a darker spirituality, a Satanism kind of situation. And because of that, he feels like the local police targeted him and his friends as a result of that. They didn't like him and they were always harassing them and getting in all this trouble. So when the kids got killed, they literally pinned it on him. And so he was able to get out after 18 years, though. He spent 18 years in jail for a triple child killing. So yeah, it was absolutely horrible, but he was wrongly convicted. And the good news is his now wife is who spearheaded this effort. She heard about you gotta love them, right? These women that find felons and fall in love. I did, love after lockup. So I'm hip to that. And she took out loans. She hired an attorney. It was amazing. And they were able to get out. I mean, they didn't on newfound evidence. But the thing is, they didn't even DNA test these kids. They railroaded the hell out of them, and to do 18 years, can you imagine? So being in jail, he said, what I had to do was shift my paradigm. I became a Buddhist in jail because looking at what the alternative was just too daunting. There's no way that I could take another day if I knew that this was my whole existence. He was like, I literally floated out of jail. Because at the end of the day, every moment of my time was consumed with being grateful and being alive and just being in that moment and savoring that moment and not thinking about what's going on outside of me. He's like, I created my own jail, but in a good way, like in my brain, you know?
Dang.
I
That's
know.
nuts.
That's amazing. It's amazing. I was like, why did he go to jail? Because he kept talking about when I was in jail. I was like, I have to know what's going on. So it's pretty cool.
And like had like a different, it was really interesting. That's crazy because that was something I learned. So I'm gonna kind of just segue into something I found today. Was so I've noticed even in the first couple episodes, but especially in episode 4, which we'll get to, I noticed a lot of similarities between this show and Adventure Time. And then I even noticed like between the characters and the some of the animation, and even like today one of the voice actors just popped out to me and I was like,
that's so and so.
And so
I love that when people are like, Kitty, are you on? I'm like, yes, that's my voice. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So I looked at the correlation and it turns out, what is this? I found this article and it's called it's on IGN. It's called The Midnight Gospel. Duncan Trussell, Pendleton Ward, Adventure Time. Oh, that's the link. Anyway, so it's basically how sorry, my computer's a little POS. Midnight Gospel, how Pendleton Ward brought Duncan Trussell's podcast to animated surreality.
It was a podcast, you were right.
Which is crazy because that's what we were talking about in the last episode, was that, or how you and I were talking about, was like, it sounds like a podcast that like they put animation to, which is exactly what they did.
Yeah, that's when you discovered that. And I was like, that makes sense because of the pauses, because it's way more natural than if it were scripted.
So yeah, right. And so I was reading this article and like it's a really cool article, and I thought, and they hit all these points. I was like, oh my god, me and Kitty were literally talking about this. We were literally talking about this last week.
Cool.
And so like that just shows, girl, we good. We know what we're talking about.
Yes, we know what we're talking about, baby.
But I just wanted to read one little chunk of it that was because I just like, I love Adventure Time. And so when I realized these correlations, especially in the 2 episodes today, I was like, that I've seen these characters already.
What network is it
on? Cartoon Network. But
okay,
you can watch it on Hulu, and it's just like boom, 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 boom. And it's like 11 episodes. Great. So they have The Midnight Gospel is the first series Ward has directed since leaving Adventure Time, one of the most iconic animated series in the 2010s. One that made a number of best of the decade lists when it ended last year. When asked if he felt any pressure working on a more adult follow-up to his much beloved kids-friendly series, Ward said, I guess the pressure doesn't come from past work, but from a pile of work in front of you. I definitely didn't see myself making a trippy adult cartoon. I just really enjoyed Duncan's podcast conversations. They made me feel really happy and dealt with themes that I wanted to make art around, which is like
exactly what we said. Yes,
I love it.
I love it too. I love any time that art imitates life and vice versa. You know, to be able to tap into that and then create your own, I guess, namesake of what it is, because it's an interpretation, right? So even though you're listening to this podcast, I wish I knew about it sooner, but now that I'm hip, I'm always drawn in. And maybe that's what works for us, right? Because you're checking out the trippiness of it. The visual will definitely get you, just like draw you in. And you're just like, what is happening? It's overload. But then to be able to listen to what the subject matter is and apply that, you know, to your life without even thinking about it. I'm like, okay, I can adhere to that. That's something that I had not considered. Like, it's just really dope. And as you said, the podcast lends itself to this greatness because it's not scripted, because they don't have to think about, you know, the lines and making sure they're punching them or saying them with this kind of inclination or this, you know, cadence or whatever. It's literally a conversation. And I think that makes it so much better. Love that.
Yeah. It was, I loved the article because I like literally was like, I keep saying it's like literally you and I said it, and then this article is like,
you have to send it to me.
We got it. We get it.
Definitely. So, episode 3, what do you think that, like, if you had to sum it up, what would you say it was about?
I felt like it was about enlightenment, but going beyond it. And it was just so interesting to like again, like I kind of have to go in and out of the conversation.
Right.
Also, my Netflix kept like crashing. So both episodes today, every like 2 minutes I had to like redo it. Anyway, but
You're killing me.
it was yeah, I thought it was about enlightenment
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and how there's you have to go past it. And then there was a really weird irony between their conversation and what was happening on screen. Like I noticed, like
always is, right?
when they're when they're like in line with all those little rock people, and the guy who's talking, Darryl, keeps like he's like giving them kisses, but then he like shoves them out of the way. And he's talking about like, oh, we have to guide people to have this transition of consciousness and energy. But the screen is showing him knocking these people out of the way so he can cut in line to go through this portal to become the. And so I was like, what a weird. I thought it was such a strange irony.
But maybe in an aggressive way. You know what I mean? Like maybe he's saying that it's difficult to get people to come into this mindset without there being like some shoving and pushing and gently or more aggressively, like, you know, I keep using the word God over and over, but you know, to help them navigate their path. Like maybe that's what they were trying to say to some degree.
Yeah.
You think? Well, I saw that it was definitely Eastern versus Western. And I have to make this point. I try my best not to ramble, but it's so funny. I had a Zoom meeting the other day, and one of the people in it and I are really close. So we like hung out after it was over, whatever, just talking. And she was saying how, of course, frustrated she is with this pandemic, but not just that we have to stay inside. That wasn't even her frustration level. It was that when she does like go to the grocery store or like an essential thing that she run that she has to make in her car, she's like, I am blown away at how people are just disregarding anything to do with what they're supposed to be doing to maintain safety. And then she's like, and why do I click on these articles? You know, everybody's just saying they're heading to the beach and these protesters. So the protesters became our focal point of the conversation. And I say that to say Eastern versus Western theology, thinking, mindset, all of that stuff is very, very different. And I think this show did a great way of highlighting that, because he kept making the reference. Remember, he kept using the word magic, and I was like, why is he saying that? Because in Western world, we think of magic as ta-da, but in Eastern medicine, magic is just another word for belief. It's just another word for I want to say, belief is probably the best word. So he was saying that this magic began in 3500 BC in Iraq, of all places, which is, you know, it started out as Persia.
Oh yeah, like ancient Mesopotamia is what they said.
Exactly. And so the Tibetan Buddhist was there. Obviously, that I said he was there. The Tibetan Buddhist, I should say, was celebrated, right? Because he stands for empowerment. And then they got into the voice of oral tradition versus energy. Anyway, in reference to my girlfriend and her saying, you know, the difference between Eastern and Western, the point that she kept underscoring, which is so important, is that as Westerners, we have been beat in the head, like from the moment we're born to the moment we die. It's all about wealth and progression and beating the next man at the game. And like literally you want to die and like shove your shit in your casket with you. Like you can't take any of that stuff. But while we're here on the earth, they beat you in the head with it like it's the most important thing ever. And there's a lot of individualism, and that's what I think is the core to our distinction between the East and the West. Their mindset is us. Everyone is involved with the movement. If one of us is going to war, all of us is going to war. If we're going to close this down, everything's going to close down. And maybe not, and those are negatives, but you know what I mean? Like they think in a way that's community based, like that's at their core. So all we think about is I. These protesters, my God, I need a haircut. I just want to sit down and have a cheeseburger at my favorite restaurant. Kill me now. Like it's all about what you want, but you don't see the greater good that you could totally impose. Oh my gosh, the numbers that I don't even know why I click on this shit, but I keep reading. It's like I just can't help consuming it. And every single article says the same thing. I think and I feel, and the mayor of Las Vegas, well, I'm going to open these back up because, you know, Las Vegas loves this. And it was just, anyway, that's what I saw. I thought it was pretty dope. I also got a lot into I enjoyed very much the words plus the current situation creates a positive transformation. So anybody can become a mindset that allows you to live in the present, in the moment, you know, lean into whatever negatives or bad stuff is happening while still looking at the greater good that is to come. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. Go ahead.
No,
I'm sorry,
it's
go
good.
ahead.
This is what I mean. Like, you're very much, you hear the conversation and you know,
Yes.
and like, and you catch these little things that I'm not seeing. Whereas like my notes are like, oh, like Clancy, like in the beginning, he completely, like his system is like, hey, I need to be updated. This isn't good. And he just completely ignores it.
Right. What was that about?
Or
I thought that was interesting.
He has messages on his answering machine from like two people, and he just deletes the messages and doesn't respond. Like, Clancy's kind of he's kind of a dick.
He kind of is an asshole.
Which actually, in the article I found, they kind of go into, they give a very good description of what the show is, and like they kind of say like who Clancy is.
Right.
And that was something that I had.
Do you think that he did that?
I'm always very fascinated by his dog. What?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was just asking, okay. Do you think that he deletes the messages and ignores his processor person? Like, do you think that has anything to do with the message in the adventure that he takes? Or that's just like a cute little thing?
Don't think it has to do with his specific adventure. I think it has to do with just who he is as a character. Because even in the first episode, we see that he's like, the whole thing, he does this whole interview with this president. And what was it? It was about, I forgot what the first one was.
Oh gosh, the
president.
First one with the president, yeah, with Dr. Drew. Drugs.
Yeah, he goes in this whole like very deep conversation, but then at the end, he's like, I'm gonna record it and make money and become famous. He's very selfish. And then one of the comments in the article, it says like, oh, Clancy, he like started his podcast by borrowing money from his sister, like, or his space cap. And it's like, Clancy's kind of a shithead.
Yeah, he's kind of a shithead. I have to agree. I do.
But let me say anything else, because I want to talk about episode 4 too, as well. And just like I think Daniel Hoops, he's like running out of ice cream or something.
Yes, and he's going crazy.
He's going crazy, and so we can segue into episode 4, which is blinded by the end. Mm-hmm. Blinded by my end. Mm-hmm. And it starts off with Daniel Hoops being like, hey man, my dad said if you can't watch I can't talk to you anymore.
Right.
And his dad's like out to get
his ass, yeah.
And so there's like some weird stuff happening in Clancy's actual reality as opposed to his interviews and spit. So that's just something I wanted to make note of, because I feel like just with the progression of the show, where we do get little glimpses of his reality.
Okay, so answer me this. Do you think that, again, like there's so much symbolism, I'm trying to like connect the dots and see if they're relevant to each other. So it starts out with what you just said. His friend Hoops is out of ice cream. Oh my gosh, I have to go get me, like everything else is irrelevant. The fact that your system is crashing and all that, whatever. This guy needs ice cream. But then they send him to Mercurytaville, right? Which obviously is a play on margaritas. But then the initial, I thought it was going to be about sex, because the initial thing talked about hedonism and erotica, but then he gets there and has nothing to do. But did you see he said that I wanted ass cream as opposed to ice cream? So I thought all three of those things, ass, hedonism, erotica, I was like, ooh, they about to get it in. And had nothing to do with that.
Well, that's the thing. So what happened was he was getting sent to Mercurytaville or whatever, but he bumps into the kitty cat ship, which is from the previous episode. And that sends his trajectory off, and he ends up on this other planet, and that's why he goes on this adventure with the ghost horse and the blood arrow and whatever.
Because so how was he able to get margaritas at the end then?
Oh, I don't know. He said somebody was having happy hour or something. I think that was just
okay, so that was just random. But okay.
That was like the reason he went to the wrong planet was because the kitty cats from the previous, which I wrote, love kitty cat crew. The cats from the previous episode had gotten off that planet before it imploded, and then gotten his way in like the weird portal of space-time.
Okay, so, now it all makes sense. Thank you, because I was just like, wait, hedonism, erotica, and then he ends up like getting his ice cream wish. So I was so
confused. He went to the wrong planet is what happened.
Got you. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, not really, but you know. And Trudy Goodman is the woman's name that plays this character, which I don't know why I didn't write down her character's name, but unfortunately, but yeah, she's
her character's name was Trudy.
Oh, duh. Thank you. Duh. Okay. So yeah, her last name is Goodman. And she started a Dharma community called Insight LA out here with us. And they call her the Love Barbarian. I love that. I
That's
love
really
that
cute.
term. That is
Which
cute.
is very relevant to the animation and the conversation.
Exactly. She probably practices radical love, which is like my favorite thing to say because it's such an oxymoron, right? Radical love. Oh, I love it. So cool. So yeah, I enjoyed this one too. It sounds like it was kind of about the same mindset, right? Would you agree? Mindful meditation. Do you love that the rose turned in, like all the blood would go into the rose?
Yeah.
That was
I have some
crazy.
theories on that. We'll get to that at the end though.
Okay,
And then
my bad.
I thought no, not at all. I just wanted to. That was something that really stood out to me. And then he ends up keeping it in the end. So it's like I think there's some correlation.
The symbolism was
yeah,
there,
I thought
definitely.
I think there's more to it, but I thought this one was about. There's a lot about forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And then I felt like I was like, maybe I got this wrong because it kind of went away from that. But then in the end, it comes back to she like kills him with like 5 hours, like the power of forgiveness.
Yeah, it's like forgiving yourself, forgiving people that have wronged you, and being able to sit still and allow that forgiveness to kind of wash over you in such a way that you're not just like, okay, you know, I'll never forget. Just being in a space where you can allow, like, not to focus on the retribution, not to be like vengeful and all the rest of that. You know, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Let the universe take care of them. But as long as you forgive, that's a greater good for yourself. Like, you holding on to it does you this person's probably not even thinking about you. They're going on with their lives 20 years later and you're still harboring ill will. It breaks you up. So I think that was super. Oh, and they kept talking about the importance of listening, right? That was pretty cool, how important it was. He was like, yeah, I listen more. And then he went on this whole like, and she's like, I don't think he gets it, because he just started rambling about nothing. But being acutely aware of the moment and being alive, right? Wasn't that cool? Remember when she was saying, like, she was like, if you know that you're going to die, like when people get diagnosed with a disease that they know they're going to die from, they say they feel acutely alive. And she's like, what a weird thing for people to say, but it's real, because now you know that you're faced with this, then you cherish every moment. You look forward to every moment because you know that inevitably it's coming, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like that part a lot. To be able to look forward. I mean, just to be able to see death as not like this enemy, but as something that you know is inevitable and that you should focus all your energy on while you're still here, being the most alive that you possibly can be. I thought it was pretty. Yeah. I thought that was
it was very
message.
like, it was like a huge wave, and I totally got it, but I was like, I have to really absorb that statement because it's
exactly.
so true.
It's
and
so
it's like
true.
You hear people saying it all the time, and then like I actually thought of an episode of Friends where it's like in the season 1, I think, where Monica, I don't know how familiar you are with the show, but Monica's identity gets stolen, and this woman, her name is Monica, and she like stole Monica's credit card, and then our Monica Geller goes to like meet her identity thief,
right?
And she ends up being this like really vibrant, life affirming, like go get 'em person. She's like, went to, like, the reason I'm like this is I went to the movies and I saw this movie and it was, she went and see I remember a play. She's like, and it sucked. And I left that theater thinking, that's 2 hours of my life I'm never gonna get back. And so it was just it's like, so
she's like, I'm gonna live to the fullest.
Yeah, and that's just exactly, and it's just such a concept that, at least in my opinion, can be so hard to accept and get on board with. Because I know there are days that I'm like, man, like if only I'd done this, I should have done this, and
and that's the thing, right? That's what they were talking about, forgiveness. It's so hard. I've been practicing that a lot since this quarantine, because it's so easy to be like, you literally have nothing to do. If you look up and it's 9 o'clock at night and you've done nothing but put your finger up your ass and binge watch shows, you're a loser. Like, I can't you have to allow yourself to be okay. Or like even just scrolling through IG. If you don't have a side hustle by the time this thing is over, if you haven't made $1 million, then you have no life, you're lazy, you're a horrible person. Like, oh my, can I do this, please? There's some people out there that are literally dealing with death, whether unfortunately they've lost their lives or someone close to them has died, or they're taking care of someone that I mean, how dare, but there again, it goes back to the Western way of thinking, right? I. So you should be doing this, that, and the third. If we come together collectively, even just a mindset of a community, thinking globally, we're all in this together. It's a cute slogan, but unless you actually practice it and believe that people have to like lock arms even if it's just virtually to get through this, then that's what makes the difference. Yes, I set intentions for myself every day. Yes, I want to make sure that I have a special kind of, thing in the morning, regiment in the morning that I do that helps me get through did I drink my water? Did I say my affirmations? Did I watch something on YouTube that, made me feel good? Did I pray? Did I do yoga? Any of these things are awesome parts of my existence and what I'm trying to implement in my daily life. But if I don't get it done, OMG, it's not the end of the world. I have tomorrow. I have prayerfully I'll be here tomorrow and I can get it done then, but I'm not it just does me no good to beat up on myself. So I'm learning so much more forgiveness because then I'm just like the night before in the tub, 9:00, you're going to get up, you're going to do this damn yoga. I'm like, if it's 10:00 and I'm still not up, it's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay. I can't be myself.
I go back and forth on that. There are days that I'm like, I have to do this, 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 and this. And then there are other days I'm like, you know what? I sat on the couch. I had a beer. I smoked a little bit. I watched TV. I did nothing today. You know what? I needed that.
You need it. It has to be a balance, right? Because just like today, we're doing all these shows. So we have to watch. We have to make sure that we're on time to do what we have to watch on time. We have to do.
Last time you and I did a binge show, I was doing my workouts during the show. I was like, I got to get this done.
Exactly. And that's my point. I think being able to be centered, being mindful of whatever, even if it's just moment to moment, whatever works for you, hour to hour, day to day, whatever makes sense, but just don't drive yourself crazy. Yesterday, I dragged my son. Well, I made the appointment weeks ago, but I dragged my son to the Red Cross and we donated blood and it just felt amazing. And it was so funny because when we left, I was like, Khalil, don't our friends live down the street? He was like, yeah. I was like, let's go through the driveway and just wave hi at them. He's like, no, I don't want to do that. Khalil, oh my God, we never get to see him. So I went on and on and on. And I'm like, you're making me feel like I'm not a good person. He was like, you literally just donated blood. Mom, calm down. And I was just like, okay, sorry. I get so into, like I said, I didn't do this. And how do I drive past my friend's house and not say hello in a pandemic? I feel like this is something I should have done. And it's just, you beat yourself up. You make yourself crazy for no reason. It's just ridiculous. But this is a great way to remind yourself. I love this show. I really do. I love it.
Yeah, it's getting to me. How did you feel? This is one thing that made me look up my article for About Adventure Time was when Trudy and Clancy go to get the potion from that witch. It's that actress. I don't know her name. I should have looked it up before we started. But it's that voice actress of that witch. I was like, she is in Adventure Time all the time. Usually plays a witch. And I was like, my brain was rattling. I was like, why do I know this voice so clear as day? That's something me and my brother do. We hear voice actors all the time. And we're like, they also played in DuckTales as this character. We're
cool
dorks about that.
No, I do it all the time. I didn't really get how there was a little bit of, he killed the witch, she blew her up. She killed somebody when she first got there. Trudy did. Remember, she killed that guy. And then Clancy was able to take his boots. So I was a little confused about how death and killing kind of fed into mindful meditation, but I'm sure there's some correlation that I'm missing.
There's something about that because she's killing people with arrows and saying forgiveness, but then she kills them and then the arrows absorb those people's blood. So there is something really interesting. But then she also dies once or twice, maybe 3 times, Trudy that is. But then the arrow heals her and saves her. Even Clancy did it.
And her boyfriend.
She died and he scratched her with the rose's thorns and then the arrow absorbed it. And then she was like, oh, thank you, friend. Because the arrow and Clancy brought her back to life.
What was the fight when she fell on top of that guy and then they were fighting? Oh no, that was the first show. My bad. I mean, the 3rd episode. But remember when he fell on top of the big guy and then they ended up in a fight under the water?
Oh,
and
yeah.
He's like, you slept with my wife, you effing this and you effing that. And he's like, what do you want? You wouldn't wake up. Hilarious, right? It's like, wait, what are we saying here?
It's like, what just happened?
What just happened? I know. It's almost like you have to watch it 2-3 times just to get every single thing. It's so well done, though. It's so well done. I would have loved to be a part of this production.
I loved at the beginning of this one, I wrote, Clancy wakes up and he falls inside of the little doggy portal and is having a freaking DMT trip.
Right.
And then the dog rolls over and he just plops out. And it's like, all right, great.
Right. I just went in for a little something. Now I'm gone. Did you see how he grabbed onto the white blob thing that he usually goes into the universe with? Instead of just sticking his head in,
and, like,
he did like a little 69 situation.
Yeah, I
was
think he was ready for those orgies.
He was ready for the orgies. It's like, excuse me, are there orgies here? That was hilarious.
The first all 5 minutes, scary people. Do you know where the orgies are?
And they were all just like, bruh, get the hell away from me. And she
like,
finally came and saved him. Exactly. So he didn't know what planet he was on initially.
Yeah, he didn't realize it either. He was
That's
like, oh,
hilarious.
I'm in a different...
Right, like they're not saying anything about sex. Maybe this is the right place. Hilarious. Yeah, it was really good. Really, really good.
My I have one well, I guess I have 2 predictions in a way. So because I'm kind of a little invested in his actual reality. And so I do think that his little portal dog is going to be something. I want to know what's going on with all these shoes, because in episode 3 he only got 1 shoe, but then episode 4 he got 4
shoes.
So I want to see what's going on with that. And then Daniel Hoops, his dad is like a wizard or something, or a warlock, and comes in. He's like, I'm watching you. And
that's right.
So what I think is going to happen is Daniel Hoops' dad is going to come in and try and kill Clancy, but Clancy has that magic rose, and the magic rose is going to save his life. And that's my
by turning into like a knife or a sword or something. That's it.
I think that too, and I think he's going to be his weapon, and then the blood is going to like come out of it
and absorb back into the rose. I can't, because he planted it, so it's there, right?
Yeah.
That is so cool. I like that way of thinking. That's awesome. Well, my prediction is that because they didn't get to the sex and the bump and grinding, that eventually we're going to get there. I think I'm going to cross my fingers that 5 and 6 include some type of erotica, or I don't know about hedonism, but whatever floats your boat,
right?
baby.
I was like ready. I was like, I want to learn more. Like,
right, bring it on. Sex talk, yes, please. So yeah, I predicted that's gonna happen. That's my thoughts, and I love your predictions. That's very involved.
Right?
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Yes.
But before we say goodbye until like another couple hours, where can we be found, Kitty?
I would love to continue this conversation with any of you that want to talk about it. If you watch this show, I know you have to love it because it's so dope. So please reach me on Twitter for that kind of back and forth thing that they do there in the Twitterverse. At Kitty Meow, KITTIE Meow, and I'm Kitty Kaboom on IG.
And I'm Cody Epp on Instagram, CODYYEPP, and Cody_Epp on Twitter. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. And we will be back in a couple hours to talk about episodes 5 and 6.
We'll see you in a minute, guys. Thank you.
Boy.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.